Don't ever sell any real estate you own. I'm sure you've heard that one maybe recently, maybe 20 years ago from a crusty old real estate mentor. That may be the single most dangerous piece of advice in the industry. And if you own multiple properties and you've been told that, this video could save you and your family a whole lot of money. And before you click away because I'm a real estate agent, stay with me. I'm not saying go out and sell everything. I'm saying don't ever sell is not a strategy. It's a bumper sticker. Here's what actually happens when you believe that you're never going to sell. You stop watching your portfolio. You're plugging properties into the portfolio, whether they're inherited or you're buying more, and you let them sit. One becomes a money pit, another couple are quietly underperforming. There's no urgency because you already decided, hey, you're holding forever. But let me ask you something. Is that actually what's best for you and your family? Because the real question isn't whether you should sell. The real question is this: is your capital planted in the right climate, and is it actually growing the way it should? Let me show you what I mean. In 2018, scientists at Germany's Neumayer 3 research station in Antarctica launched something called the Eden ISS Greenhouse Project. This is a high-tech hydroponic system built to simulate food production for long-duration space missions. The total cost was around $5 million for this. First year, they grew about 110 pounds of tomatoes. Impressive, right? Given the environment? Well, here's the thing. Just because you can grow tomatoes in Antarctica doesn't mean that's where agricultural capital performs best. Meanwhile, here in California's Central Valley, tomatoes are grown at massive commercial scale. The climate supports it, the infrastructure supports it, the economics support it. Some assets survive, others thrive. The climate matters, and this applies directly to real estate. What does the real estate climate look like in an area? Well, it's the regulation, it's insurance, it's operating costs, it's landlord-tenant law, it's how much rents can be increased. Since COVID, the climate for landlords in Los Angeles has shifted dramatically. And this is just one example. The regulations have tightened, insurance costs have spiked, operating expenses have climbed, and rent increases are capped. So many buyers are starting to demand higher cap rates to compensate for the increased risk. Well, what does that mean? That means when cap rates go up, values drop. There's a 36-unit building in Los Angeles currently listed at $8.775 million. It originally traded in 2017 for roughly $2 million more than that. The owner held it, dumped a bunch of money into improvements, did exactly what the advice said, don't sell, and still watched $2 million evaporate. And it's unlikely that that money will ever come back in the LA climate. 36 units, a significant asset, still hasn't sold. Holding didn't protect it. The climate shifted and the capital wasn't realigned. Now, sometimes it's not the climate, sometimes it's what you're growing. So take condos as investment properties. They seem simple, manageable, predictable, and they can be for a while. But over time, the HOA dues creep up, insurance premiums increase, special assessments show up, cash flow reduces quietly, steadily, year after year. So if you're lucky enough to have $1.5 million in equity, but you're only generating $30,000 a year, that's a 2% return. It isn't that the asset's failing, it's just not producing relative to the capital sitting in it. And in a larger portfolio, that's exactly what you see. There's going to be potentially a few great performers, a few quiet non-performers, and then maybe some outright money pits. The strong assets mask the weak ones. The portfolio feels healthy, even while part of it drags down the overall performance. Quiet underperformance is still underperformance. Farmers call it soil depletion. The minerals drain out slowly. The land looks exactly the same, but it produces fewer crops every single season. Most owners don't catch depletion in their large real estate portfolios until it's way too late, if ever. And I understand you don't always control the crops you got. I'm working with a couple right now who inherited assets from both sides of their family. They got 2 liquor stores in LA, 2 condos, a luxury duplex in Orange County. Total value is about $10 million. So that's good news. A significant appreciation across the board. But when we actually analyze the performance, we found that the blended cap rate across the entire portfolio was around 2%. And it wasn't their plan to own this mix. Life rarely just hands you a coordinated investment strategy. But right now, they're taking the time to step back and ask, is this structure optimized, especially before they pass it on to the next generation? They love the appreciation, but they're asking themselves whether there's a better, safer way to pass this wealth on to their heirs, and we're there to help. Think about it like farming, but not in Antarctica. If you're serious about farming, you don't scatter a bunch of seeds around across the random soil, water occasionally, and hope for this amazing harvest. You evaluate the land, you choose the right crop, you monitor output, you adjust when something isn't working. Because if you don't, yields decline, the growth slows, and the field eventually stops producing what it's capable of producing. Capital is the exact same. Left unattended, it doesn't maximize itself. It just does whatever the climate allows. So what can a real estate investor do to get the best harvest? As we said in the beginning, don't ever sell is dangerous advice because it shuts down the most important question. Is there a better place for my money right now, for me and my family? That's the question serious investors ask. A proper plan could mean a few different things. Maybe it's a 1031 exchange, moving equity out of a 2% performer into a stronger market. It could mean consolidating 5 or 7 scattered assets into a 20-unit building, where economies of scale improve efficiency and give you more control, plus more cash flow. How about you 1031 into a market that wants you there? You can reposition into a market that's aligned for stronger appreciation or better cash flow, whatever matters to you. Or you could do a 1031 exchange into properties that you can eventually hand over to your children or grandchildren, something that's going to align with them and your long-term family planning. But none of this will happen automatically, especially if you're sitting there thinking, I'm never gonna sell. You have to evaluate what you have, you have to measure performance honestly, and you have to decide intentionally. So what that crusty old real estate mentor should have been telling you instead of don't ever sell is really this. Don't ever sell without a plan that provides a better future for you and your family. That completes the advice. So if you own multiple properties and you haven't stepped back to evaluate whether your capital is planted in the right climate, it's time. And that's what I do. I help families turn portfolios into plans. So reach out for a no obligation, no pressure analysis of your portfolio. We have a link below. And hey, maybe you're still not convinced. Maybe you really are never going to sell, but just in case that day comes, watch this video next. I run through 22 mistakes that landlords make when selling, because the one thing worse than an underperforming portfolio is leaving money on the table when you finally do exit.